Being opposed to affordable child care is like being opposed to golden retrievers. No fair-minded person can be opposed to it. And, I've often wondered in a perfect world what the numbers would look like if we could somehow measure the lost productivity from not having child care for people that's affordable and available. That's the other problem. Can you find child care? And my guess is that the benefits, we call that dynamic scoring, the benefits would outweigh the costs. I also think that when moms and dads lie down at night to sleep and can't, affordable child care is one of the things they're worried about. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the things.
Childcare versus taxes. Who wins? Senator Kennedy just dropped a bombshell hearing in the Banking Committee, and the debate got heated. Should the government invest in childcare like it's the next big tech stock? Or is this just another spending disaster waiting to happen? Stick around because this breakdown is going to leave you shook. And hey, before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next political firestorm we drop. Fire!
How do you think we ought to pay for this? Should we borrow more money? What should we do? Let me start with Mr. Hopkins.
Senator Kennedy, thank you for your comments and from the great state of Louisiana. I want to change the language that you used just a touch, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You mentioned that you're asking the question whether the government should subsidize child care. I'd rather suggest to you that the federal government should invest in child care.
Okay.
And we should expect a return on that investment. Lots of research out there indicates that if you invest just $1, you can get $17 in the kind of savings you're talking about. That's smart use of federal dollars. And I urge the Senate, I urge the House to look at ways of investing in the things that should matter in this country, and that is the next generation. The folks who need to be taught about how to defend this country, the folks who need to take care of grocery stores, who need to deliver mail. That's an investment in the people of this country. And so that's I tweak the language that you use to moving it from.
How do you suggest we should pay for it?
Investing. You simply invest. It's like, let me put it to you this way. If I have $10
in my... another way, where do you think we should get the money?
It's called the Treasury.
Where do you think Treasury should get the money?
It gets it from the folks who have to pay the taxes, who have to work, and they can't work without child care.
Do you think we should raise taxes, or should we borrow the money?
Oh, I think you should do what it takes to get the proper investment.
Well, those are the only two choices.
But would you borrow money to have a great investment of 17%?
Well, of course, Mr.
Exactly.
Hopkins, but it begs the question.
Yes.
Because nobody around here ever stands up and says, I've got a lousy idea and I need money for it. It's always couched as an investment. Helping people pay property and casualty insurance, helping them find it is an investment as well. But sooner or later, you get down to the hard choices we are running big deficits, and deficits do matter. And our spending has contributed to inflation. It's not the only reason.
Let's get real. Childcare in America is broken. Senator Kennedy hit the nail on the head. What's the cost of lost productivity when parents can't work? Spoiler, it's billions. But here's the kicker. Hopkins flipped the script, calling it an investment with a 17 times return. So why isn't Washington throwing cash at this? Drop a comment below. Should the feds treat childcare like a Wall Street bet, or is this just more big government spending? Here's the million-dollar question. Where does the money come from? Kennedy didn't hold back. Raise taxes or borrow? Pick your poison. But Hardy fired back. We gave tax cuts 20 years ago. Where's the return on investment?
Let me ask Ms. Hardy. I'm open to suggestions about where we get the money. See what Ms. Hardy thinks.
I'm going to speak to this as a business owner.
Okay.
And I hear what you were saying. In my mind, I look at this like a return on investment. I am running a business. If there is not childcare for my employee staff, 69% parents, it is the difference, is life or death for Bobby.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the difference of us thriving
I understand
versus
that,
failing.
But if you go to the bank, let's suppose you want to expand your child care, and you go to the bank and you want to borrow, let's say, $1 million. You can't tell the banker, you owe me this money, it's an investment. The banker's going to want to know how you're going to pay me back. And that's the challenge we have. I don't disagree with anything any of you said. But do we raise taxes? We don't have this money today to do what you're asking for. Do we raise taxes? Do we just borrow it? Give me what you think.
And I am deeply empathetic to the process of trade-offs and prioritization every single day in our business.
Yeah, you see it.
And I hear, I hear exactly what you're saying for. This is for American families. It is making a difference. It is the difference between a woman being able to stay in the workplace and continue to invest in her career or have to go home and make.
Truth bomb, the estate tax exemption is $13 million. Could that cash fix childcare instead? Subscribe for more money debates. Kennedy didn't stop at childcare. He dragged property insurance too. In Louisiana, families pay $900 more each month thanks to inflation. And guess what? Government spending fueled the fire. So now what? Cut budgets, print more money? Real talk, if you had to choose, would you slash spending or tax the rich? Sound off below.
In my state, unless we go into disinflation, which will cause huge unemployment, we're going to be stuck with these high prices. And in my state, our median household income is about $55,000. The average family in Louisiana is paying about almost $900 a month as a result of inflation. Now, that's 10 grand a year. It's hard for the average person to find that. And part of that inflation has been caused by government spending. So my question is this.
Kennedy called out Congress's biggest lie. Nobody ever says their idea is bad. But here's the reality. Priorities matter. Should childcare beat out defense spending? Healthcare? Maybe it's time for a full budget audit. But would politicians ever agree? Subscribe and hit the bell. This debate isn't over.
So is property and casualty insurance. So is, I've got a bill right now. I think it's paid for to try to cap the cost of insulin for everybody, including the uninsured, at $35. You know, you reach the point where you say, we can't do everything. So the fair question is, where's the money going to come from, Doc?
The majority of federal revenue comes from taxes, so if you need more money, you'll have to raise taxes. I'll remind you, sir, that we have had two massive trillion-dollar tax cuts in the past 20 years, and they have done nothing to make childcare more affordable. They have done nothing to help the casualty and property insurance that you were talking about today. They have not been invested in children, and we have not seen that return. I mean, the 2001 tax cuts have now had 22 years to prove that they could solve the social issues that you and your fellow senators say that are a priority, and I don't think we could point to evidence to say that they have worked. I would love for you to give child care 20 years. I would love for you to say, let's take 2 decades of runway, invest it in young children, and see what kind of return that I could get. But we've never given children or the child care sector as much runway as we've given taxes. And I'll remind you that the estate tax exemption right now is $13 million.
Well, let me say thank you for the honest answer. Raise taxes. In another venue, perhaps, or another time, we can debate what that tax reform did for the economy. But I've got another subcommittee hearing. So I'm going to turn it back over to our esteemed chair and thank all of you for being here today.
Boom! Kennedy versus Hopkins versus Hardy. Who won? You tell me in the comments. And if you're sick of political gridlock, smash that like button, share this video, and follow Hot News Today for the uncensored breakdowns everyone else is too scared to post. See you in the next one. Stay loud!